High Court of the United Kingdom has ruled against the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society in a case involving child sexual abuse and a couple of elders who refused to give testimony on the grounds of clergy penitent privilege. Now, I have an article about this, and I'm going to put a link to it below, but I'm going to read all the pertinent parts, though I do encourage you to read the whole thing on your own after you watch the video. All right, so let's go through it. It starts off that the rights of children outweigh those of confidentiality when disclosures of information about allegations of abuse are made to ministers of religion, the High Court has ruled. Jehovah's Witnesses elders, the equivalent of ministers, failed in their challenge to an order to disclose information to a council about allegations of sexual abuse made about a father who was a member of their congregation. The name of the ruling judge was Mrs. Justice Levin, and I hope I'm saying that correctly. And she rejected the contention that the material was covered by a common law privilege against disclosing information obtained during confession or spiritual counseling, what we call in the States clergy penitent privilege, the thing that Watchtower has been claiming all along now, saying they don't have to report, they don't have to talk, they don't have to do anything because they're covered by clergy penitent privilege, and it's a confession. But there's a lot of really good stuff in addition to just the fact that the judge rejected that argument. First, let me say good for her for saying, fine, you have clergy penitent privilege, but the children have rights too that supersede yours. And this goes into more detail about that. She held that the Article 6 and 8 rights of the children outweigh the Article 9 rights of the Jehovah's Witnesses to respect for their religious practices. Thank you very much, Judge Levin. Thank you very much. About time somebody said it. Fine, you have rights as clergy. Fine. But so do the kids, and their rights outweigh yours. Thank you. Just so glad to hear that coming from a judge. All right, elders A and B had applied to set aside a witness summons issued by so-and-so in November 2019. The judge said that the application raises an important issue about the circumstances in which disclosure can be resisted on grounds of a religious duty of confidentiality in the context of allegations of child sexual abuse. The facts of the case raise very great concern about the safeguarding of children within the Jehovah's Witness community. That is a quote from the judge. The judge says it raises concern about how children are treated in the community. And yes, it does. She is very correct about this. It is of great concern that Watchtower instructs the elders to put confidentiality above the protection of children inside their organization. Even if they have the legal right, they claim to be the only true Christian organization. They claim to be above the rest of the world. They claim to be God's only chosen people. They claim to be the only ones who are practicing true Christianity and love and all the things. Love never fails, right? And yet they don't report because they claim they have clergy penitent privilege, which incidentally was created for the Catholic Church, which Jehovah's Witnesses have lambasted the entire time I ever knew anything about them. I was born a witness for 37 years, always bashing the Catholic Church that whole time. Watchtower was doing it. But they gladly use clergy penitent privilege, which was created for the Catholic Church, which in the 40s, Watchtower lambasted the Catholic Church about because they used it to hide crime that was confessed to them. So just loads of hypocrisy going on here. All right, but there's more. E is a girl age 12 and F is a boy age 10. In July 2019, A informed the police that their mother had in 2016 told elders that their father had sexually abused E. Okay, so it was in July of 2019 that one of the elders informed the police that the children's mother had told the elders that the father had sexually abused the girl. The police sent it to social services. The children were put with foster parents. And when Lancashire filed and served statements from Elder A and Elder B setting out their investigation of the allegations made by the girl, they produced various documents, but they refused the issued witness summons. They said, no, we don't have to tell you any details. A and B, the elders, argued in their challenge to this that they were under a spiritual duty not to disclose confidential religious communications. But the judge rejected this, saying there is no evidence that the material sought through the witness summons was in any sense a confession or akin to a confession. It appears that the allegation of sexual abuse came to the elder's attention because of the mother reporting it, not because the father confessed to the elders or sought spiritual counseling. However, even though it couldn't be considered a confession because it didn't come from the person who was actually the abuser, the judge also says that the information that was sought, quote, does not on the evidence amount to spiritual counseling. And that even if it did, that the congregation's own policy said that where a conversation amounts to spiritual counseling but indicates that a child may be at risk of harm, it, quote, will be conveyed to the extent necessary to ensure that the policies and procedures herein expressed shall be properly followed so as to safeguard children. So the judge is saying that Watchtower's own policy says that even if it is a confession, if there's risk to a child, that it should be reported. At least that's how the judge interpreted whatever Watchtower's policy was. And so she's saying, so no, this is not covered. This is not covered. And the final thing the judge said was this: there does appear to be a strong suspicion that the congregation's own published guidance was not followed, not just by Elder A and Elder B, but also by more senior figures in the congregation. From a child safeguarding viewpoint, this is deeply troubling, not least because the policy documents are ones which seem to be produced for public consumption, but not to be effective to protect children. Isn't that interesting? The policy documents seem to be produced for public consumption, but not to effectively protect children. So the judge recognizes that Watchtower creates these policies that are word salad. It's a word game that they play to appease the public. Oh, look, we have policies to protect children. But the judge says that in effect, they don't do anything. They're not actually protecting anybody. And therefore, I'm not going to pay attention to their own policy, even though from her perspective, they didn't even follow their own policy. So this is really good news. Another judge rules against the Watchtower, and doesn't just rule against them, but rules against them even though where she is at, they have clergy penitent privilege. She says, finally, someone in authority says that the rights of the child supersede the rights of the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society. Thank you very much, Judge Levin. I'm very grateful to you. I know all EXJWs and concerned citizens are grateful to you. Let's hope that the United States starts making the same kind of common sense judgments that the judge of the High Court of the United Kingdom made. Well, please help me to continue to raise awareness about this very serious problem within the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society and the congregations of Jehovah's Witnesses by sharing this video, by liking this video. Please subscribe to my channel if you want to be updated anytime anything like this comes out, and be sure to hit the notification icon so you'll be notified when I release new videos. Don't forget, the link to the full article is in the video description, and I strongly recommend you go read it. And as always, thanks for watching.